If you've been with us for any length of time, you know we've done an episode or two.
Quite a few.
In fact, this episode is 100.
100. We hit the big 100.
That's a lot. A lot of content. What are we trying?
I have no idea. He's kept this a secret from me. He knows. I don't.
Let's go. Stick with us.
Let's find out together on this episode of Savor the Burn. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Savor the Burn podcast. My name is Jonathan. Over here to your right is Mr. W2. How do you do?
I am stoked and super excited.
Excellent.
This is episode number 100.
100. Part 1.
We've been going at this for 1 year, 10 months at this point.
That is not including...
That's not including bonuses. We've also had quite a few multi-part episodes.
We have.
So there is a lot of content out there.
Lots.
But 100 episodes, 100 actual episodes. And what a milestone.
Definitely.
We have tried some pretty incredible bottles.
Oh, absolutely.
Out of
these
those,
Michters, that lineage from
the Michter's 10-year bourbon and the rye
from Jim Beam
were our perfect 10s.
They were.
We've had a lot of great pours from Jim Beam.
Yes, we have.
It is. And so I thought this is an opportunity to get some good bottles.
Yes.
Up the ante a little bit.
I don't know. The ante's upped.
The ante's upped.
It's up there already.
Let's get some bottles that you don't find every day on the shelf.
Okay.
And actually, we brought up and we talked about Michter's. Mm-hmm. Michter's has been around. Michter's is the oldest distillery in the United States.
Yes, arguably the oldest.
They are. I know their bottles say so somewhere on here, so I'm looking. 1753 is when they were established. When they were established, though, they were not called Michter's. They were originally called Shenks.
Yes.
And then that eventually got sold to and changed to Baminger.
Okay.
And then that eventually became Michter's.
I've heard Baminger. I've heard Bomburgers. I've heard it pronounced a couple different ways.
I know I've mispronounced it a handful of different ways. But what's cool, though, is Michter's really, really respects their past and where they came from. And so as part of that, they have what they call their Legacy Series. And they do an annual release of a Shenk's Homestead and a Baminger.
Homestead, okay.
So the Baminger is a Kentucky straight bourbon. And the Shenk's is their Kentucky sour mash.
Oh, look at the color on that. It's like a jar of honey.
I mean, that is super dark.
Sorry, I accidentally stuck my finger in your front.
Oh my.
So if you like what he had to say there, sorry, had a little bit of bubble wrap there. Put that back down.
I get it. It chokes me up too.
It's so beautiful. So if you like what he has to say about that, definitely check out what we got. Like the man said, we have 100 plus so many more episodes for you guys to check out. So find one you like, scroll through them, find a bonus episode you might think is funny or fun, whatever. Just listen to it. You don't have to go all the way back to episode 1. I did. I went back to episode 1 today and just checking it out.
We've
come so far.
I recently did that too, and I was just like,
yeah.
Those first dozen episodes were kind of cringeworthy at this point.
Yeah, just because we didn't have a rating system. We didn't have.
It was also audio only, so
it was audio only, which audio
is fine. Yeah.
Because a lot of you aren't watching us; you're actually listening to us. And if you are watching us right now, thank you. Please hit the subscribe button, the like, the bell notification. Leave us a comment. Tell us where you're from. Send it to all of your Shenks fellows, because we're about to do a review on this, and it may or may not equal what your Shenks or Michter's enthusiasts have to say about it also.
When we did our Michter's tasting at Red X this last summer, they actually had Shenk's and Baminger available for the raffle for a chance to buy.
It took forever for them to call our numbers.
And
mine was the very last number.
Mine was the very first number.
Oh, yeah. There was a...
That's where I got the 10-year ride.
There was that lady that they did pre...
They did a giveaway. Drawing. Yeah, they did a giveaway. And then apparently because it was a giveaway, they put her number back in the tumbler, tumbled it, and somehow pulled her number again. But that's all right.
Rigged.
What was cool, though, is the guy that actually walked away with the Baminger Kentucky Straight Bourbon, he popped the top, asked the bartender for some extra glasses, and is like, anyone want to pour?
Yeah, and we're like a table over being like,
you think we don't?
Think I don't, motherfucker? Let's try it out.
So you crack the seal and get to pouring.
I'll pour.
I got a lot to talk about.
You said you got a lot to talk about?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, lay it on us. Let's see what you got.
So this is the Shenk's Homestead Kentucky Sour Mash Whiskey. This is the 2024 release. I should have written down the year that they started that, and skimming through here, I don't have that. But it is an annual release, and they have only been doing it a handful of years so far. So it is relatively a recent annual release.
Okay.
This comes in at 91.2 proof. There is no age statement on there. Kentucky, Michter's. In 1753, Swiss Mennonite farmer John Shenk founded Shenk's Distillery, which was later renamed Baminger's Distillery in the 1800s before having its name changed once again to Michter's Distillery in the mid-20th century. It is this great heritage that we honor with the release of Baminger's Declaration and Shenk's Homestead, which comprise our Michter's Legacy series. Shenk's Homestead Distillery Sour Mash Whiskey honors the legacy of historic American whiskey figure John Shenk, who in 1753 founded a distillery that was to become known as Michter's in the 20th century.
Hold for pop. Decent.
That was a good pop, and that
natural
is
cork.
Natural cork.
Smells good, dudes. Smells good.
It is made in Kentucky according to the traditional sour mash process, whereby a portion of the previously distilled whiskey mash, referred to as setback, is added into the next batch. This full-bodied small batch whiskey is 91.2 proof. This 2024 release of Shenk's Homestead Sour Mash Whiskey is an expression made with a substantial amount of rye.
Really?
This offering uses whiskey that has aged in French oak sourced from Vosges, Vosges. I'm terrible at French, so
French is kind of...
We'll just go with that. Vosges. If you know, leave us a comment, please.
Yeah. Because when we mispronounce these words, these names, these places, we don't do it out of disrespect.
So, aged in French oak, sourced from the region of France before being naturally air-dried and seasoned for 24 months and being toasted to our specifications. This release also includes whiskey with unique grains in their recipes, including malted rye and caramel malt, which offers a nice creaminess to complement the rye-forward herbaceous and spice qualities. And I do have tasting notes on this one, so
it's funny you said French oak. Oh my goodness! Because it does remind me a little bit of that who was the French oaked makers.
The 46.
The 46, but it was that cask strength. The
cask strength 46
that you had that really smelled like a different kind of oak.
I'm getting a little bit of sourdough, maybe like some rye bread. Lots of caramel. Lots of caramel.
Yeah, I put
brown sugar.
I said caramel heavy.
Vanilla.
I said malted rye, caramel heavy, vanilla custard.
Yeah.
You think custard?
Absolutely.
Like creme brulee custard? Brown sugar, sourdough rye bread. It's like...
I mean, look at that color, dude.
Oh, dude, it's so...
It's dark.
Yes. Did they have a color definition on it?
Yeah, it says dark amber.
Dark amber, okay. So I agree with that. Dark.
I love the yellow gold topper band.
Yeah.
On there. It's a great contrast, and then that color is also in the front label.
It's got one word repeated: Shanks, over and over and over. Black topper, black wood topper, natural cork. It's a very elegant looking label.
Yeah,
it's old school.
It's a textured paper.
Yeah, and down here on the bottom looks like there's a cut ticket kind of thing.
We got a bottle number.
We do. It's bottle 369 of 2581, batch number 2452248.
2,581?
24E.
Okay.
Yeah, 2,581 bottles. This is bottle number 369. How did you get this bottle?
Right place, right time.
All right, maybe let's get through our palate and finish. And you can tell me where you got the thing. Cheers. Spicy. It's rye spicy. It's not a little bit of Kentucky hug. Rye spice. Okay.
That's a great rye.
It's got so on the nose it smelled like malted rye for days, right? But this tastes like grain rye, like rye that you would normally expect.
Yeah.
So I'll just put down rye.
Oh man.
And then give a little hyphen, grain.
The nose wowed me. I think the palate wowed me too.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to get it more on the palate because a lot of times you don't really. Yeah, you just met first impressions. You know, it's a little thinner than I thought it would be. I mean, not
for the color.
Not that that's a bad thing.
But
right?
check out the legs. I mean,
that color and
it's got some stripes. Got some leg stripes going on.
Yeah, big time. But that color is beautiful. The nose is fantastic. All right, so rye grain. I'd say a lot of oak. I'd say it's oak forward. If you've had this, let us know. Leave us a comment or send us an email. You know the emails. Well, actually, if you don't, it's info, Jonathan, or W2 at savortheburn.com. Or you can leave us a comment or send us a DM anywhere. Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. It's having a hard time pulling more flavors off of the palate here. Like maybe there's it's those oak tannins that Daniel from Whiskey Tribe doesn't like. I think it's got some of those tannins in there, but that's over there on the finish. What all else are you picking up on that? What did the tasting note say about what's in the palate?
The nose
about tobacco or
the nose says creme brulee and spice.
Oh well, here you
palate
go.
Says an herbaceous whiskey to savor.
Oh.
Highlights of spice, fruit, and nougat.
I like nougat.
On the finish, smooth and creamy.
It is smooth and like it's got Kentucky hug.
Yep. Nice little bit of warmness all the way through.
Right, long and warm. I didn't pick up on the nougat on the palate. What was the other thing you said?
Herbaceous whiskey to savor.
That's what it was. It reminds me of...
And then highlights of spice.
The herbaceous part of it that you said reminded me of the Wilderness Trail...
oh, yeah.
That grain.
That wheated bourbon.
The wheated bourbon. But this tastes more like it's got... what's in that grassy note? Barley? It tastes like barley. That's not it.
And I don't have a mash bill on this, but the description does talk about a substantial amount of rye, aged in French oak, with unique grains in their recipe, including malted rye and caramel malt.
The finish. I like the finish. Because I like rye. Because I like rye, I'm probably gonna give this a higher mark on the finish than I probably normally would. I didn't pick up on sour mash until it hit the palate.
Yeah.
Usually you pop a bottle, you twist the cap off, whatever, and it's like sour mash. You know, it's got that ick to it. You know, but this didn't have it. And in fact, the sour mash that this didn't have ick. So that's a fairly new experience for me.
This is really good.
Yeah,
I really like this one. This does remind me of the Michter's sour mash dialed up.
Okay. Yeah, I think Michter's sour mash may have been the lowest rated Michter's bottle product, whatever that we
I think it
had.
probably is, yeah.
But that was just one of...
And we still have not done a review on the American whiskey.
We haven't?
We have to get that one and do a review of that one. That way we've got the entire...
the whole damn catalog.
The whole core offering.
Yeah.
And then got to figure out how to get our hands on that 20-year.
The 20-year, yeah. If we need ski masks and like, bolt cutters... I don't know if I gotta.
I'm not saying anything, but
if I gotta give a security guard a hand jibber, we really want to get our hands on that 20-year.
That'd be very nice.
Bottle presentation. We talked a little bit about the bottle presentation. It's elegant looking. It's wine bottle shaped. It's got a nice punt with a punt relief kind of in there, whatever the hell that means. I'm just calling that slit down there in the bottom the punt relief. I don't know if that's a football term or not, but whatever. It's got a cool little label on the back. It just gives you kind of, what does this say here?
Yeah, please.
Shenk's Homestead Sour Mash Whiskey honors the legacy of American whiskey figure John Shenk, who in 1753 founded a distillery that was to become known as Michter's in the 20th century. Mm-hmm. Please join us in toasting and celebrating American whiskey history.
So one of the things that or what I read did not talk about, but worth mentioning, Michter's is located smack dab in the heart of Louisville. Shenk's was actually founded in Pennsylvania.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's where he started?
That's where it started.
Okay.
And then at some point, they relocated and moved to Louisville.
That's pretty cool.
You know, there's no box, there's no bag, there's not all the things.
There's not.
But I'm drawn in to the labels, the use of color, the use of the gold metallic ink to really, really make this thing scream legacy, heritage, old, honoring the past. Repeating that yellow and orange as part of the tape across the top of it, the really pronounced wines type of a punt in the bottom of it. I really like the look of this bottle.
That does make me question what I haven't done any bottle history. Is that an S down here in the tip of the punt?
It is.
Is that a Shenk's S?
Yep.
I don't see that.
Well, good thing I gave it a good score because it should have just gone up for that. That's a little detail.
That's the tiniest fucking detail I didn't even expect to see. I saw something going on because I'm looking through the bottle and I'm like, that looks textured in some way. I'm going to check that out. Yeah, I mean, there's no embossment on here, but if we're going to honor a legacy of the origins of Michter's Bombinger, whatever, and no offense, don't come at me if you do. Info at savortheburn.com. And Shenk's, if we're going to honor that legacy, let's go back to the bottle style. I'm guessing the bottle style that they started with back in the day. I mean, you probably didn't have fancy whiskey bottles back in the day. In fact, it was just whiskey into a bottle or a vessel of some sort just to transport it, because that's what you had to drink, and that's what was going on. It wasn't aged in anything.
Yeah.
I mean, what you run from your still is what you got. Real quick, where did you get it? How did you get your hands on it?
I got it on through Keg and Bottle.
Keg and Bottle. Okay.
I just happened upon an email, just be looking in my inbox when an email popped through, and I don't remember the exact price, but it was, I don't even think it was $10 over MSRP.
Which is pretty wild.
It was a great price, and so I jumped on it.
Yeah.
And it actually came with, it was a combo, so I got that, plus another bottle of the single barrel rye.
Okay.
And so yeah, it was a great price.
So, what did you give it on the nose?
4.5.
4.5. Wow. Okay. I gave it a 5. This thing had just the right amount of things to offer on the nose, and was that wasn't like you get lost in the sauce as far as all the different flavors that are there to offer. And so, and they were heavy, like they were big. They were big notes, so that's why I gave it a 5. How about the palate?
4 3/4.
4 3/4. I'm not far off. I almost did 4 3/4 myself, but I did drop it because of it seemed like all of the cool notes that were on the nose for me, a lot of them got cut way down. And for me, the nose was not indicative of the palate.
Okay.
But the palate, as far as a rye whiskey goes, I thought was pretty good, because the rye for me on the palate switched from malted rye on the nose to just like a straight rye, and that sour mash kicked in right there. It's very oak forward. I'm not afraid of oak forward whiskeys and bourbons. I really liked it. I had to have really liked it if I gave it a 4.5. And then the barley and the grassy notes kind of came in, and it was fruity, just like what their website tasting notes said. So we are on to the finish, We didn't really pick up a lot of notes on the finish, but it was long and warm.
The finish was
warm
great,
spice.
though.
It was great. We had a great Kentucky hug. The oak tannins for me started to kick in. I'm not a oak tannin queen. You know, I'm not going to freak out if they're in there. I kind of like them from time to time.
Yeah.
Not everything has them. So whatever. So I gave it on the finish. I gave it a 4.5. How about you?
Girl, same.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to bottle presentation. We talked at pretty good length about this bottle presentation. We got the cool headband here, neckband, or this would be a neckband. We got a headband, dark wood topper, natural cork, wine bottle. You got a punt relief, and an S stamp right down there in the bottom.
You also on the front of it.
Really did love.
You've got the kind of a ticket style secondary tape label for everything that has all of your handwritten things in there. Your bottle number of the batch and the batch number.
It says distilled and bottled in Kentucky.
Yep.
Which, I mean, for some that could be a flex. It's not, because they've just been doing this for so long. It's just to let you know, like, hey, it's not MGP.
This is not, and this is not just sour mash whiskey. This is Kentucky sour mash whiskey.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to be expected when it comes to those kinds of things. So,
if you're in Kentucky, you should be flexing that fact.
Yeah.
Because by saying that this is a Kentucky sour mash, just like a Kentucky straight bourbon, it actually means, it's not just saying, yo, we're in Kentucky. No, it means that it was distilled, aged, and bottled all in the state of Kentucky. So nothing was outsourced, nothing was brought in, nothing was shipped to another location outside of state or whatever. Everything was done in-house, in-state.
So what did you give it on bottle presentation?
I went in and gave it a 4 3/4.
4 3/4. Okay, so that's why you were saying no, it didn't come in a box. No, it doesn't have a bag. But it's got this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, these are all individual ratings.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. His rating's not going to be mine. Mine is not going to be yours. Don't get it twisted. And final score. So real quick, when we started this,
what was your presentation?
I'm sorry, 4.5.
Oh, okay.
I gave it 4.5. So, like I was starting to get to when we very first started this podcast, we did not have a rating system. We kind of talked about what it tasted like, tried to come up with a rock tail, and that didn't always work out. We had to force it sometimes. So when they happen now. Yeah. So it's just going to be a natural thing. And so, so how we do this, and maybe you've heard this before. If you haven't, welcome to the podcast. But we rate these in 4 different categories. We got nose, palate, finish, bottle presentation, and then we take those numbers from a 0 to 5. There have been contenders for zeros, but we won't bring them up, Navigator. But we just so yeah. Anyway, so a 0 to 5 rating on those 4 categories. Take the numbers that we gave them, add them up, and then divide that number by 2, and that's how we end up with our final score. And really, I really love this rating system. We
get that second nose.
Might have had a little bit too much in here for second nose.
That's full on steel cut oats. Steel cut oatmeal, brown sugar, and cinnamon.
Real quick, second note is also something that we had no idea about until 50 episodes ago. Final score.
Oh,
all that to say, our rating system, all that to say, we add everything up, divided by 2, and that's how we get our final score. So for me, it was 5 on nose, 4.5 on palate, 4.5 on finish, 4.5 on bottle presentation. Added all that up, divided it by 2, and that's how I came up with 9 1/4. So that's my final.
What I love about this system and the rating system and all that is our scores are our own. Very rarely do